So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And most of the time, we have no idea what the real problem is. And of course, that's a problem. As usual, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. Got an MBA, computer science degree. I know how to salsa a bit and merengue, some ballroom dancing. That's fun. Lost a bunch of weight. I had a newspaper of my own, and I traveled a bit. So that's it for me. So, it's actually the second time I'm recording this thing, or second point one time, I don't know. But a lot of times we really have no idea what the real problem is. So, for example, if, as in my area recently, a young woman was, I believe, raped, unfortunately, and murdered. And, you know, there's so many crazy things that people bring up as cures to this, right? Nobody has brought this one up, but in some circumstances, people would be like, what was she wearing? You know, in this modern day, women are too scantily clad, and that's part of the problem. It's not to say that anybody deserves this, but blah blah blah. And of course, I'm sure if we took a survey of people who are actually the victims of a lot of these crimes, it more than likely has nothing to do with what the victim is wearing when they're assaulted. Most crimes, I would imagine, are crimes of opportunity, where somebody sees, hey, I can get away with this. It's not like, oh, this is going to be a really, really difficult one, but look at what she's wearing. I think I'm going to get her. I really doubt that that is the case, because that would be kind of stupid. But it could come up. Or I think of immigrants. People blame immigrants for coming and stealing jobs when immigrants need a place to live, they need food to eat, they need transportation, they need everything that all of us need. And if you notice, the countries that have more people tend to have a bigger economy. It's kind of like America, it's kind of like China, it's kind of like Japan. Countries that have a lot of people tend to have a bigger economy that needs or gives people the opportunity to have more jobs. So it's just really ridiculous that people would be trying to reduce or restrict immigrants from coming into their country. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you think about it, immigrants and kids, they're kind of like pretty similar. There are additional people in society. And I don't see the people who are complaining about immigrants, illegal or otherwise, complaining about people having kids. But kids are a drain on society, for that matter. It takes however long to educate them. It takes resources to feed and clothe them. Tax write-offs that you can have because you have these dependents, that these people are not paying extra taxes because they have kids. And, nobody makes a fuss about that. But you could have a fully grown human who, speaks whatever language they speak in your country, who needs work and can provide work. And you're like, no, 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 I don't want any of those. They're coming in here taking up our jobs. No. And, it comes even down to an individual level. Like last night, I needed to leave my computer on. And, the fan is kind of noisy. And I'm thinking, I had just either read or listened to an article where the person was essentially, laying out this whole case, which is that we tend to make associations that have nothing to do with the truth. And we do that a lot in life. And Here it is, I might think, well, this fan's going to be pretty noisy. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Well, how noisy does something have to be when you are driving, either to your home or hotel or whatever late at night? Almost nothing can keep you awake. Your eyes are drifting, whether somebody's talking to you or you have the radio blaring or whatever it is. You're probably not, it's going to be hard for you to keep your eyes open. And, things are going to be a lot more noisy and a lot more, you're going to try to have a lot more active things going on to keep you awake, and yet you're not going to be able to. People fall asleep. I don't think it's happened to me that often, but people I know have fallen asleep talking to me on the phone. And I guess maybe that, I don't know what that says about me, but no, it doesn't say anything about me actually. It just says that we think that noise is going to keep us awake. Even unfortunately, my grandmother, she would tell me, I can hear your television. And I'm like, yeah, you can. But that's not what's keeping you awake if you're awake. It's probably because you're not very sleepy. It's not like I have my TV at this insane level. But there's that association that we make in our heads. The TV is loud. I'm not asleep. Well, not that the TV is necessarily loud. I can hear it. I'm not falling asleep. Maybe that's what it is. I know myself that a lot of times there have been many occasions where that's what I would have told myself, that it's not 100% quiet, and that's why I can't fall asleep. And I would stop whatever it was that was making noise and still not be able to sleep anyway. And unfortunately, it's like if someone asks you to scratch their back. If you're scratching in the wrong place, doesn't really matter how well you were scratching their back. They're not going to appreciate it because it's not effective. And, in that case, it's really easy to get feedback from the person. Okay, that isn't working. The problem is that more often than not, there is nobody on the opposite end of a problem that we're having to help us to identify what the actual problem is. So, if you want to lose weight, for most people it's going to be, oh, you really need to start exercising and you really need to start eating lots of lettuce. And that's probably not the best way to try to get down in size, to lose some weight. The best way to do that is by, yes, monitoring what you eat, but probably not relegating yourself to some kind of crazy, insane fast where you're eating like 20% of the calories that you need every day. And as a result, making your life a living hell and making it much less likely that you're going to continue what you're doing. That doesn't help you. And yet that's what most people who need to lose weight, myself included, would assume. That, yeah, you need to exercise. I remember I went to the gym for a month every day, well, as many days as possible as it was open, before I decided, screw gyms, I'm not going to do that. And I did not lose a single pound. And I remember when I started to, stupidly, not monitoring my calories and so on, I just started to arbitrarily eat less. And, that did not work out as well as I would have thought either. It's so much more complicated than we'd think. But right now, that's what works for me. I monitor my calories and that works. And I finally figured out, hey, what the real, and isn't that most of the problem most of the time? Most of the problem most of the time is, and unfortunately that's where we fail a lot, is identifying what the real problem is or what the real solution is. unfortunately, in many instances, as I would have said, we just spend so much effort barking up the wrong tree, pursuing the wrong means of achieving what our goals are. I mean, if you had asked me any amount of time in the past, since from a teenager to maybe 5 years ago, I really probably would have been about the Benjamins, about getting as much money as I could, and that would have been the important thing of my life, becoming as rich as I possibly could. And that would have been my marker for success. Yes, I've achieved success, or being as famous as I could be. And that would have been my measure of success. But now I realize that you can have a whole bunch of money, just like other rich people say. Well, not other, but just like rich people. No, yes, other rich people, because I am already very rich compared to many other people in the world. And this isn't something that I would have seen. Just like my friends, when I say you're rich, and my friends are earning like, $100,000 a year, they'd be like, no, I'm not really rich. Well, compared to how you were in university, you're like 4 or 5 times more money that you make every year, and you still don't think that you're rich. And before you were even like, before you were in prior to that time, even that 4 or 5 times, you were making even less money than that. I know for myself right now, I guess I'm working on an old toilet, you could say, and I have no idea what the problem is, why this thing won't flush. Sometimes it was flushing just fine, and then it stopped, and I don't know. I've been through, there's a siphon that you can change. I went and I bought a brand new siphon. Didn't do anything. What else did I do? I can't remember all the different steps, but that's a problem right now. I have no idea why the thing won't flush. I've tried putting bleach to kill anything that might be stuck in it. I have changed other parts, different parts. I've taken the whole thing apart, and pretty much like when I started, I don't really know why it's not flushing and why it's, and every time I try one thing and I think, that's it flushes well for a while, after a while it stops. It really does seem a lot of the time like we grab a whole bunch of things that happened before and a whole bunch of things that happen after, and we kind of smush them together and hope that they're somehow connected to each other with the relationship of cause and effect, right? Well, anyway, I wish you good problem solving, and myself as well. Hopefully we won't spend as much time as we have in the past barking up the wrong tree. So that's it for me. Feel free to like, subscribe, none of that. Lots of it. Yeah. And do me as much as you would like someone to do for you, if this was something that you'd created. Have a good one. Peace.